summer is arriving in European football, and with it comes the whirlwind of speculation, negotiations, and moves that stir the transfer market. And when it comes to Liverpool, it seems the coming months promise to be a true turning point for the English club. Under the leadership of manager Arne Slot, a new era has begun to take shape at Anfield, but not all players appear to be aligned with this vision. One name that has drawn a lot of attention recently is Jarell Quansah, a young 22-year-old centre-back who may be on the verge of leaving the club where he grew up as a player, even after signing a new contract just a few months ago. If you follow English football, you know Liverpool has always been known for its careful financial management and its relentless pursuit of balance between investment and performance. But this summer, all signs point to the Reds board being willing to adopt a bolder, almost ruthless approach in planning the squad. It's as if they've pressed a strategic reset button, determined to solve chronic issues and reposition the club at the top of the European elite. This change in mindset is already causing significant impacts, not just in the big signings being discussed, but also in how some fringe players are being evaluated. Quansah is a fascinating example of this dynamic. He's a true product of Liverpool's youth academy, a central defender who emerged as one of the club's brightest prospects in recent years. With an impressive mix of physical strength, game reading, and technical ability, the young Englishman finally got his chance to debut for the senior team last season under the legendary Jurgen Klopp. At the time, many fans were excited about the potential he showed. It was like watching a rough diamond begin to take shape with each match. However, since Arne Slot took charge, things have drastically changed for Quansah. His promising progression began to run into unexpected roadblocks. The Dutch coach quickly solidified a defensive duo made up of Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahima Konate, two giants who dominate the opposing box with almost intimidating authority. And although Quansah has shown talent on previous occasions, he simply hasn't been able to carve out enough space in the starting lineup this season. The lack of regular minutes has affected not only his confidence, but also his performance during the rare moments he was called upon. When brought on, especially in tricky away matches, the young defender made mistakes that, though understandable under pressure, raised doubts about his readiness to take on greater responsibility within the squad. It became a frustrating cycle. Without consistent chances, he couldn't develop. Without fast, something even more surprising might be on the horizon. Romano highlighted that despite renewing his contract with Liverpool in October 2024, Quansah is starting to attract interest from other clubs, including major names like Newcastle United and even Bundesliga teams. The reason? Simple: the desire to play regularly. Romano explained that while Quansah is incredibly talented, the current scenario at Liverpool makes it very difficult for him to rise. With Van Dijk renewing his contract and Konate firmly established as a guaranteed starter, on top of reported interest in reinforcing the position further, with rumours involving players like Dean Huijsen, there seems to be little room for the young Englishman to shine. "Sometimes you just want to play," said Romano, capturing perfectly the essence of Quansah's dilemma. For a developing player, sitting on the bench or being relegated to a reserve role can be devastating, especially with so many eyes watching his progress. But here's the interesting part. The external interest in Quansah reflects just how valued he still is in the market. Clubs like Newcastle see in him a unique opportunity to strengthen their defence with a young, skilled and motivated player. In Germany, where teams like Borussia Dortmund and Bayer Leverkusen often bet on emerging talent, the possibility of bringing him to the Bundesliga is also gaining traction. All of this creates an intriguing scenario. Will Liverpool choose to let him go in search of new opportunities, or will they try to convince him to stay, knowing that his patience might be wearing thin? Meanwhile, Liverpool fans are divided. On one hand, there are those who understand the need to maintain a competitive and streamlined squad, recognising that not every player can be prioritised. On the other hand, many harshly criticise Arne Slot's lack of squad rotation, arguing that youngsters like Quansah deserved more chances to prove their worth. There's a growing feeling that if the Dutch manager keeps fielding the same players repeatedly, regardless of their performances, the club might be wasting valuable talent. Additionally, there's the practical concern that losing Quansah could create an even bigger gap in the centre-back position, especially since Liverpool already urgently needs reinforcements in that area. If the youngster leaves before a suitable replacement is signed, the situation could become chaotic. That would place even more pressure on the recruitment team, which already has a tight schedule to resolve several gaps in the squad. So, what will be Jarell Quansah's fate? Will he decide to forge a new path, seeking regular minutes and the chance to establish himself as a starter elsewhere? Or will he remain at Liverpool, betting that his moment will eventually come, even if it requires patience and resilience? Regardless of what happens, this story serves as a fascinating reminder of how unpredictable and dynamic modern football is. Players who once seemed untouchable can suddenly find themselves at pivotal crossroads. Clubs that used to be conservative in their approaches are now willing to make drastic changes. And in the midst of all this, fans continue to dream of better days, hoping their passion will be rewarded on the pitch. One thing is certain, if Jarell Quansah does decide to leave, it will mark an emotional and perhaps painful chapter in Liverpool's recent history. But if he stays and manages to overcome the challenges imposed by Arne Slot, who knows? Maybe we're witnessing the beginning of an epic journey where a young talent defies all odds to become a club legend. No matter the outcome, it's worth keeping a close eye, because in the world of football, the most incredible stories are the ones still being written.